Oops. And good evening, good morning, and good night wherever you are. And good evening, good morning, and good night wherever you are. And what? And good evening, good morning, and what the hell? What? And good evening, good morning, and what the hell are you doing, OBS? And good evening, good morning. What the hell are you doing, OBS? Jesus Christ. Good evening, good morning. What
having
the
problems
hell
here.
are you doing, OBS? Jesus Christ. Good evening, good morning. What
Having
the
problems
hell
here.
are you doing, OBS? Jesus Christ. Hold on. What
Having
the
problems
hell
here.
are you doing? Jesus Christ. Hold on. Oh my God.
Having problems here.
Are you doing?
What's happening, guys?
I don't know. My OBS doing something really stupid.
What's happening, guys?
I don't know.
Problem.
My OBS doing. Yeah, it was my Twitch. Sorry about that. I had my Twitch at the background and the volume was on, so that was my bad. Sorry about that. So let's take it again. And good evening and welcome to DECE Circumnavigation Expedition Basecamp 12, Basecamp and talkshow. As usual, I'm here with Macross Black. Hello, Macross.
Hello, Henke.
And our guest tonight, Commander Micky Shades. How are you, Micky?
I'm good, Henke, thank you. Hi, Macross.
So, I will jump straight to news. We have big news for this week because instead of having commanders disband DECE, we have one commander making comeback. And that is Commander Long John Silver. So he is definitely continuing DECE, and I'm glad that he is. And he has said that he's going to be at Beagle Point at May 5th. So he's a bit behind, about 50,000 light years, but I think he can make it. So that's good news. And
Very good news indeed.
Yeah, and other good news is that I think that someone saw Simon Woods log into game. I don't know, is he coming back to DECE or what's his case, but I think we will find out in the near future. But that's the news from me for this week. So if you have something, Macross, fire away. Oh, that's the news.
Yeah, it sounded good from you.
Yeah, that was beer opening. That's your news for this week.
As you all know, we are getting pretty close to Beagle Point, and I've asked Commander Wishblend, which is the organizer of the Beagle expedition, any plans on their week in Beagle Point, and he told me no, they don't have any plans specifically. So I think that one of the tasks that Henk and I may have is to come up with some ideas what we can do in our week in Beagle Point. I'm not sure you all know this, but to spend about a week in Beagle Point and do some R&R and maybe do some SRV races or fighter races or
SRV racing. Yeah.
Any other craziness that we may come up with. So we have still some planning to do, and also some coordination with the Beagle Point expedition.
Yeah. That's like 1 month away.
1 month away, and which is also the halfway marking of our expeditions.
Yeah, and the halfway mark for the date. 6 months comes in 2 weeks, actually. April 14th. Yep. That's six month mark.
Yeah, amazing how time flies.
Been into 6 months already.
Mm-hmm. That's nuts.
Time really flies. Tempus fugit.
Yeah. So let's get down to our guest tonight, Commander Micky Shades.
Gentlemen.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's talk with Micky. Tell us about your commander background.
Well, I'm not sure when I got the game first now. Excuse me. Probably 2015, something like that. It's been a couple of years now. And right from the beginning, I just wanted to get out here as such as we are now. So I just worked my way through the ships. I mean, back in the day, as we were saying, you couldn't earn nowhere near the same sort of money you can now in a short amount of time. So it took me 7 months before I got the Condor. And that was it. And I don't go back to the bubble very much since then.
Straight for the Anaconda, or did you have ships in between?
Well, yes, I worked my way up through them. So it took me 7 months to get to the Condor. Each ship, I didn't really think I was heading towards getting the Condor. You know, I was going to, like, when I got to an ASP, I thought, well, that'd be okay. I can go out and do the job in that. But I said, I bought an ASP and I drove it out to the space station. And after about 50 yards, I turned around and took it straight back because I can't live in this thing. I probably shouldn't have said that. Here we go.
And why didn't you like the Asp Explorer?
Well, it's just a personal thing. I'm sure the Asp's a very nice ship. I keep it in a glove box in case I break down. But it just I want a bridge rather than a cockpit. And the Condor's just does everything well, and that's why, as I said earlier, it gets a lot of bad press. The Condor, more than every other ship put together, probably. But it's just because it does everything so good.
Yeah,
Except
I don't
for things like Super Cruise and
except for
landing
Super
on
Cruise
tight spots.
and the view and and all those things it doesn't do good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't like Asp X also, so I have never liked it. It's just too boring.
So I just ended up getting bigger and bigger ships till I got to the Condor. I love the Condor since I bought it. And as I say, I think I've got a Sidewinder lying around somewhere and a Cobra Mark III, but I don't use them. And I probably won't ever buy another ship because if I was flying another ship, I wouldn't be flying the Condor. So Condor it is.
So, do you also like the range and the ever-increasing ranges of our ships in Elite Dangerous?
Not sure about that. I've always thought from day one that anything that makes the galaxy smaller is not a good thing. Anything that takes away from like the epic size of it, like when we went on the DW expedition and the Condor. Then I had quite a long range Condor then at the time, and it was jumping 38s. But now the one I'm sat in now, it's got a fighter bay and shields and an SRV and everything I need to be comfortable out here, and it's jumping 65 on an empty tank. Like, I mean, you know, it's nearly, you know, if they go much further, like you'd be crossing the galaxy in an hour, like.
So you do feel that it's almost too much flight your range?
Yeah, I think now as it is now is probably good. I mean, anything that makes it any smaller. I mean, one of the first trips I did, I went to Sagittarius A with the Condor with the 30-odd light year range on. I did the buckyball run when they first came out, and that was just an epic trip at the time. It was just, you know, it was just such a distance to go. And now, I don't even know what the time is, the record time for getting the Sagittarius A now, but I think it's crazy quick.
It's just below 2 hours. I think it's 1
2
hour
hours.
53.
Oh my!
One
Wow.
hour 53 minutes.
Wow, that's nuts.
I think it was Alec or a lot who has the record now.
I mean, there was a time when you were looking at, when I was traveling back then, you were looking at 2,000 light years an hour as an average, like. So you were talking 30 hours plus flight time to get to Beagle Point. Now, the way to look at that in reality is, you know, if you're playing 2 hours a day, that's 2 weeks. I mean, it gives it some some sort of scale. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. And you mentioned you did a buckyball to Sagittarius, eh?
Yeah. Well, when you do things early on, they've got that sort of adventure to them and stuff. And I set off on that on a whim, basically, because they've been running that race for X amount of time, and it was like the last day or the last weekend. And on that weekend, that race was being finished, and they were stopping recording the people that were doing it at the time. So I just set off. I just went in a space station, took a picture, and set off. And I flew the ship for 15 hours solid before literally I was falling asleep at the wheel, and I just had to stop.
15 hours solid.
Yeah, I was having great fun. There were people on the game I'd never met. They were actually watching this. I was having messages coming over the comms out of nowhere. People asked me how I was doing and keep it up and all this sort of thing. And I was thinking, wow, I was really enjoying it. But as I say, I had to stop because I would have destroyed the ship if I kept going. I had a fight with myself for about half an hour solid, trying to keep going, and I just until I couldn't. Literally, I just fell asleep on the console and put in a star somewhere.
So your final time to get to Sagittarius was...
Oh no, that's dodgy. Because they actually they actually take your overall time, right? Now I probably could have finished. I'd done 21,000 light years in that time, I think, something like that. So only a little while longer I'd have been there. And what it was, you'll like this. My better half was doing a race for life in the next city across, about 12 miles from here. So when I had a couple of hours sleep, I jumped in my car, went down, and I filmed all her and her friends from where she works, all doing this race for life, like about 10-kilometer run or whatever. And then I came back and finished the buckyball. So it was a bit longer than it should have been. 35 hours.
On the race to Sagittarius, my best time was the time was 10 hours, 8 minutes, and 6 seconds.
Excuse me. I know we could do considerably better now, but I bumped into Commander Alot or Alot, however you pronounce his name at the time. He was on the Distant Worlds when I did that, and I was parked next to him, and I'm like, oh, you're the fella that got the record. He's like, yeah. He said, oh, I see your name on it. I'm like, shh, be quiet now, be quiet. Because he'd done about 8 hours at the time, and mine was 35, so I didn't really want to talk about it.
At this point, it might be nice to inform people that there's only 6 ships at the mast jump location, so you can ask wing invite from me or Macros or Jackie Silver or Janks Hautame. Who else is here? Penny. No, is that Penny?
Several commanders already in a wing, so I think they are incoming.
Yeah, that's good, but that's just to inform people that there's only 6 ships here at the moment.
Oh, and there's still time. There's half an hour to get here.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay. Excuse me. I'm not in the game at the moment because the game's in the Rift, and I haven't got the Rift on because I can't have that and be on this channel. But I'm pretty sure I had a direct message from our Mr. Simon Woods, just wishing the fleet well and saying he'd be around at some point.
That's nice.
That's nice. Nice to hear from Simon. Good to know that he's way back to the expedition.
Yeah. And it's good to have Long John Silver also back. I don't know when we'll see him at the mast jumps next time, but
maybe we'll see him at Beagle Point.
Hopefully, yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
What was your motivation for joining this expedition?
Because it was there. Excuse me, that's an answer, isn't it? I'd actually set off on one anyways. I was going to go around myself, and I'd only got about 12,000 light years away when I saw this on the forums. So I just turned straight around and signed up for it because I thought, well, it'd be better to go with other people, as it was on the Distant Worlds expedition. So yeah, as I say, I would be out here doing this even if there was no monetary reward for it or anything like that, because it's just about the trip, really.
So it's not because you are going to sell all your exploration data and buy Federal Corvette or an Imperial Cutter when you come back. It doesn't really matter to you.
I won't talk about other ships. I'll offend somebody. It's okay. It's okay to disrespect the Condor. Look, see, everybody does, and like I say, it gets more bad press than any other ship. But you can't talk nasty about those other ships because it doesn't go down very well. But like I say, no, I won't be spending. I don't really need any more money in the game because I've got what I want. You know, how much? Hang on, I got about $500 million now. I got about 400 and something odd million as it stands now, and I don't need the money. You know, saying about that, when we left the last base camp, I jumped into the jump system, and then I just I scanned the stand. I was floating out in the system, just crossing the system and plotting a course and what have you. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I wasn't near anything dangerous or anything that could cause any damage to the ship. And all of a sudden, all my modules started melting, and the ship started cooking around me, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I mean, I believe that silent running can do that in certain circumstances, but it couldn't be that because I put that on a double key bind a long time ago because I didn't want to have it ever accidentally happen, and my ship was just cooking itself, and some of the modules are actually down to 0. I did put a message on you about it, so I put in a ticket for that, and they fixed it because whatever was causing that, it was wrong. It shouldn't have happened. There was nothing that would have caused it. Anyways, they put the ship back, like they put the modules back for me, which I was very grateful for. But I did contemplate the fact then that everything I'd done to that point on this trip would have been lost. But I was far more upset. I would have been far more upset about the fact of the discoveries I've made other than the money. The money, that really didn't mean anything. But the discoveries I've made and the stuff I found, I wouldn't have been too happy about that. That's the main thing.
Yeah, exactly. And did you find out what happened to your ship? Why it started cooking?
No, because they did say to me in an email, they said in an email that they haven't got that much data on module problems. So they saw what had happened to the ship. As far as I'm not sure how it works with them, but they can look and 1 minute your ship's okay and the next minute it's not. But they can't really tell why. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is it's quite strange, like. But anyways, at the end of the day, they put it all back for me, so I'm well pleased with that.
In your journal files to see if you could see anything.
I excuse me, I didn't know you could do that. Well, I can look in the journal files I've got on you and see what happened. Could I do that?
And that was post 3.0, right? So
it's as I say, I scanned the main star and then I scanned the B star. Then I turned away from both. I don't take any unnecessary. I got a routine when I fly and I stick to it all the time. And so I scanned the A star, scanned the B star, then I pointed the ship into like just into space. It's not heading, it's actually heading away from everything, not going towards anything. And then I go into the galaxy map, so I'm going to plot the course from there because that's the jump system. And then
that's when you started cooking.
And that's when it started cooking. I wasn't near anything that could have caused the damage. And as I say, silent running, I got that bound to a double key setting, so it can be pressed accidentally. And as I say, I put the ticket in and they didn't know what caused it either. But so, mystery, really.
I wonder if it was because of the rotation period of the second star.
They weren't close. They weren't close together. It wasn't a binary system. They weren't close together. The other one was close enough for me to scan from where I was, but that could have been anywhere up to about a couple of thousand light seconds away. I could scan it from, like, I scanned the primary and spun around to scan the B, and that was at some sort of distance that I could get it from where I was. Then I pointed the ship away from everything. It's under power as well, so you know I'm not sitting. So I'm actually driving away from everything on, say, half throttle though, while I set another course. But as I say, I've got a routine for flying the ship, and I stick to it all the time. Like it's like I only ever scoop under a star. I don't know maybe that's a rift thing, but you know, I'll scan the I'll stop in front of the star, scan the star, and I'll put the nose of the ship down, and I'll go under the star every time because this is a safe thing to do. And then like where it says fuel scoop active or whatever, I've got that on the exclusion line, and you're never going to come to grief, and that's a good thing. So I do the same every time, and the same with the when I go into the galaxy map. I mean, I don't never do that in front of a star, even when the ship's only doing 30 k's a second. I still don't do it. I just got this routine, so try to keep myself safe, and then that happens anyway. But saying that, on the way here, about 5 jumps before I got here, I had that where you jump through a star to get to the primary. You jump through the secondary star. And it was that close behind me. The ship did start to heat up. It only went to 61%, but that's not supposed to happen very often now. But it happened to me about 5 jumps before I got here today. So these things are still out there to bite you.
That's a jump that will wake you up.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, the ship was fuel scooping the whole time. When I jumped in, the fuel scoop cranked up, and it was scooping the whole time. And the first thing I did was look at the temperature. And it went up and sat on 61%, like, so then it didn't go up any further, so I didn't panic. I just sat there and let it carry on and checked how far the star was behind me then. But it's all it's all fun.
Yeah, unless your ship explodes or starts cooking, right?
Yeah, that's not fun. Well, like with the modules,
that's not
a week or two ago, that wasn't fun at all. I shut the game down because there's nothing else I could do. It was doing it, and I couldn't see any core, so I all I could do was shut the game up before the ship fell apart. Like, so
yeah.
But all's well that ends well as far as that one goes. They have been good to me in the past, mind. The support. There's a few things there's only a couple of things here and there have happened since I've been on the game over the years now, and they've helped me out every time. So they're pretty good.
Yeah, customer support at Frontier is very good.
And they are going to have some. They're going to have some busy time when we are going to arrange some SRV shenanigans at Beagle Point. There's going to be some explosions.
You think so?
Yeah. I'm quite sure of it.
Exploding fighters and maybe exploding ships, but fingers crossed.
Hopefully not.
That it won't happen.
Just remember to record a video if you're going to blow up your SRV, because that's what support said to me last time I had to ask my exploded SRV back. That's quite odd.
I had one blow up on the Distant Worlds expedition. Just like everybody was getting that at the time. It was on, I don't know, it was on 80 odd percent, 90 odd percent on its hull, and then I just driving along the surface, actually quite flat as far as I remember, and just blew up. But there's no problem with that. They were replacing them all back then. Every day, no problem at all. I think it got the point when you logged out and logged back in, you just had your SRV back.
Yeah,
I think that's all you had to do. I might be wrong there, but I think that's what it got to.
Yeah, that was the magic trick Frontier decided to do when after they got really many.
But it did mean at the time you could have a lot of fun with them.
Yeah,
we had the demolition derby races out on by Beagle Point. I was actually in the final of that, you know.
Oh,
I got to the final of the demolition derby out when we out Beagle. I didn't win, sadly, but I was the one with the dramatic entrance where I blew up and it blew me clean off the tabletop into oblivion. It looked good.
It was nice. I blew up my SRV at Distant Worlds just when Edward Lewis came to Beagle Point with Salome. That was
on the flyby.
I was at the instance back then, but then I blew up my SRV and didn't get back. But I saw Edward Lewis arrive at Beagle Point. That was nice.
Nice. How has the expedition been for you so far? You mentioned you made some discoveries that you would be sad to lose.
Oh yeah, there's a few what do you call them? A few things on the wish list. Like they're mainly excuse me. Well, like everybody, I suppose, I wanted to find a moon you could land on where the Earth, like, or the water world, was that big on the horizon that is just an amazing sight. I haven't found one as big as I'd like yet, but I found a few that are good, and they've all been a bonus. A couple of them I've actually stayed there for a day or two and just driven around on it because the view is so stunning. Like, one of them, the moon was an ice world, and there was hardly a flat bit of ground. It was all canyons, just one next to the other, next to the other. And you had to like land on a ridge to find a bit of flat ground, and the scenery was just breathtaking. And there was an Earth like on a water world sat up there, just close enough to be really impressive. Things like that. Excuse me.
Yeah, there have been some amazing finds and photographs taken that we can see on the DECE Candy thread on the forums.
Yeah, I just realized that I have been really bad at taking pictures and videos. I am really lazy with those, so I don't know why, but I just forget to take those screenshots. It's my goldfish memory.
I know some. Take a screenshot from Elite Dangerous. It is uploaded to whatever service that picture service that you can upload to, and it does so automatically. It's a nice feature, but then again, if you're prone to take a lot of pictures, I like to take a lot of pictures, then I don't know if that's a good thing, but with way too many pictures.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you can have too many pictures.
Well, I am bad taking them, so.
No, I'm looking at the pictures now being put up on Discord of us all floating above these planets here, and yeah, that's just stunning. That is.
It was great. I switched to. I can see. How many commanders can I see? Whoa, I see Penny too. Oh, and Hinka.
Just look at those planets. Those really nice.
Yeah, they are. They did a really good job finding this Basecamp.
Yeah, it was Chunk. Chunk Sartoma found this Basecamp.
Kudos to Chunk for finding this site.
Yeah.
Do you do any video recording?
I used to, excuse me, in the beginning, but they weren't turning out too good. The quality, for one thing, for whatever reason, and but when I saw other people's videos and the effort that goes into them and the production of them and how professional they look, I'm thinking, do you know what? I'll just step aside here. Because some of them are just incredible, and they actually catch whatever's going on there, and what it gives you the feel. It's, as I said earlier, it inspires you. Some of the videos and the pictures, they inspire you, and they're just incredible.
So, do you have any favorite videos you used to talk about?
Well, there's two. I mentioned one earlier, and that's Shibuka's video. I actually we mentioned it. I think that was his number 21 video where he's describing his journey in Distant Worlds and the final jump. It's all about that one last jump, and it just catches the whole feeling of being on that expedition for me, and the effort that was involved with the range of the jump range of the ships then. And it was an epic trip to go to Beagle Point. It still is now, but not quite so much. But there's another one as well, and I think it was done by, I gotta think of this now, the Candy Crew, I think it was. And they've just got a video of a couple of them clowning around on a planet. They're on top of a ridge, and they're flying their ships like vertical, stood on their sides along the edge of the cliff. They sat on the top of it in SRVs, watching these asps go by and boosting along the edge of the cliff. And the music they put behind it as well. I wouldn't remember what that video is called, but I loved that. It was really impressive.
Yeah, I liked Shabuga's videos also back in DWE.
Was responsible for some major good time shenanigans on Distant Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, obviously
there's races and ship races.
There's countless more than that, like too numerous to mention. You know, a lot of them, like Simon's videos for a start. Simon Wood's videos, they're all good.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah.
I think he was a big part of it. When we got to Beagle Point, excuse me, I just happened to arrive and I got in with this group of commanders and they weren't at the base camp. They were a couple of kilometers away from it, and they organized a flyby for the arrival. And I'm not sure how many ships there was. There may have been like a dozen of us or more. And that was all filmed, where we did a fly past of the Beagle Point base camp, and flew from a couple of kilometers away and flew around the top of it before we landed, and that's all on video, and that was really impressive. That was really enjoyable. I sat at the back of that as well so I could watch it, and I videoed it, but it took me so long trying to upload a video. To be honest, I gave up.
So what happened to all your videos, Micky?
Oh, that's not a good one. I had about 500 gig of just Elite Dangerous, just ED videos, and it was getting too much. So one day it wasn't a good. I just pressed a button and they all went. And I'm not sure that was a good move, but it freed up a lot of space on my drive. But there's probably a lot in there that I'd like to have kept, but to have sorted through them, because I didn't put them in any sort of order or put things in folders and you know, especially like ones that were a bit special to me, like maybe that fly passler. And I don't think it was a good thing. I probably shouldn't have done it, but it's done now. So
know exactly what you mean.
But 500 gig, it was getting a bit big.
That's a lot of videos.
Yeah, well, that shows how many I used to actually. I would record, like flying into this place today. That was stunning, flying down and landing on it at this base camp, and the views that we've got now and everything. And you know, I would have videoed all this in the past.
Yeah, I like the idea that we have some footage from our DECE trip after this is done, because all these talk shows and mass jumps will be archived in YouTube. So
yeah, it is the fact that someone does it needs documenting, and the fact that people do it, people far better than me is the point. Because like I say, right from day one when I started video and stuff, whether it's just needing to put more effort in or more time or whatever, but there's people out there doing far better jobs than I was doing with it, and they are worth the effort. Like I say, to have it documented, all these jumps and this trip, and this is definitely a good thing, definitely.
Yeah, and our viewer base isn't big, but that's not the point. I think for me, I was there, and
we're a very elite club, and that's that.
Yeah, but for me, it's the point is there that I was here, and the point that this is archived in videos, this talk shows and it means a lot to me. I can watch this from year from now and remember all this. So this is a big deal.
I feel the same way about it. I try and I've missed a few of the waypoints now. The ones that, this will sound terrible now, but the ones that were a lot of effort to get, like I didn't go to Arm's End, because the amount of mats that I would have had to have found to do that, I haven't got the time to be able to do it, like with the real life stuff and everything. So I just sort of, as long as I can make the base camp, I try and make all the base camps. And then the waypoints that along the way that I can get to, I will. But if the easiest way to put it is, if it involves too much effort, I find that I don't go, which sounds terrible. But then I got to clear something up, I suppose. I would never describe myself as an explorer, because I'm more of a space tourist. You know, it's like I'm out here with an RV with like an auto trail chieftain or something, and I'm out here for the sights and for what I see, like what's in front of us now, and stuff that you fly into a system and you're like, wow, check that out. You know, and I like I say, I'll actually sit somewhere for a day or two if it blows me away, like. But definitely a space tourist. All the people that you know, that look for the biggest this or the smallest that and all that I find that really interesting. I do, but I'm, apart from anything else, I haven't got the time to do that. So, but it's excuse me. It's just the being out here, really. That's that. It's like I said from the beginning when I first had the game. All I wanted to do was leave. It was get a ship that was capable and I'd be happy living in, and then just leave and not be in a bubble anymore.
Well, Micky, in my mind, anyone being on this expedition is an explorer, and can hardly call themselves a space tourist because the effort and dedication you need to put in to be on this expedition, regardless if you're hitting just the base camps or not, it is significant.
I'm hitting most of the waypoints. I am hitting most of them, but as you say, that's just in my sort of perception of it. The fact that we're out here now and how far away we are and the distance so far, I think I've done about close on 250,000 light years to this point, which, you know, there's people in the game, obviously, that wouldn't travel 2,500, never mind 250. So it's just your perception, I suppose, you know, when I say about not being an explorer or whatever. But I just say just everybody's individual perception, like, of what's big and what's not.
I sometimes hear people on the forum complain about having to go to Palin in the Maya system.
Yeah, only going 5,000. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but it's hard to understand if you're not an explorer by heart, because for me it's quite hard to understand why 5,000 light years is so difficult for some. But then again, I don't like combat that much, so.
Yeah, same here. It's because I'm crap at it. That's why. Well, I've never really done it actually. So.
Let's say otherwise. I do like combat, but I don't like power play. I don't understand anyone who does power play. So.
I haven't spent a second doing that or C. What's the other one? QC or whatever.
Yeah. But regarding that, I can understand in some way how some people don't like exploration. So
I suppose the bottom line of it is this: when I come across this game, I was probably browsing on the internet one day and then I saw it, and when it said it's got 400 billion star systems that you can free roam as and when you like, and then you look into it a bit further, and there's not the game killers for me like stargates and portals and wormholes and all that sort of thing, and there's 400 billion stars and you get to free roam them wherever you like, however you like. That's the game for me. That's the game. And the distance, the more effort it takes, the better it is. You know, you got to work for it, and that's it. That's what brought me to this game, was the fact that you got the galaxy to free roam as you please, and there was no shortcuts. And that's what gives it its size and its scale, and do you know what I mean? That's part of it. The fact that if you want to go over there, you got to work to get that. It ain't supposed to be easy. But that's just me. You know, I'm sure there's for everyone that feels like that, there's 1,000 on the game. I think the opposite. So
I think a lot of commanders have it like you, Micky.
Go and play No Man's Sky or something else. Leave this galaxy alone.
Yeah.
I gotta remember there's actually people listening to this. Maybe.
There's 7.
No, I think we have some listeners.
18 people watching the stream.
I'm a space tourist that wants a big galaxy.
So
you wanna go where I've gone? You gotta work.
Yeah, there's 18 people watching the stream at the moment, and after show I think there will be a few more viewers. Have you noticed how that second planet has risen up quite?
Yeah, I'm getting a bit worried about our target being well.
It's 5 minutes only, so.
Fine, so we have 5 minutes, and I think it's getting close.
Do you think it will be obstructed?
It's going to be very close.
Yeah. So we will see.
I think we'll make it.
I think that planets. Yeah, it might be actually quite close.
I'll probably have to reset the game before I can jump out because my nav panel are frozen. I don't know why it's only the nav panel that does it. The systems panel on the other side and everything else I can get at. But the nav panel, I can bring it up, but I can't sort of file through all the different tabs on there. And I can't do anything with the nav panel. It comes up, but it just doesn't work.
It's the wing thing. It's very
yeah. And
it's really annoying.
I can't touch it because I'll drop out the instant. I'll drop out of everything, so I'll just leave it like it is and sort it out after when we're done.
So, Micky, I think I know the answer to the question I'm going to ask you now, but favorite thing in Elite Dangerous?
My favorite thing. Is that what you said?
Yes, your favorite.
Okay. I thought you were going to ask me what ship was the best then, which would be the same answer. No, my favorite thing is like from the beginning, it's the size and the scale of the galaxy. It's the fact that, and there's no shortcuts, you know, and it's spread out in front of you, and it's the size of it. I don't know how else to put it, and the fact that if you wanted to go to Beagle Point, you got to work, and there's people that went on that expedition, and you know, there's people that have come on this one and actually backed out because it simply got too big, it got too time consuming. Because you did say earlier that whichever way you look at it, and it does take commitment to stick with this sort of thing. It does. And even like I was going to say, even me at that me when I some of the stints I do on you when I'm flying the ship, I sort of, you know, it doesn't, it's not like it's too much. It's the thing, well, I don't know how to put it. Does it get on top of me sometimes? Yeah, it does. It does. There's times when I enjoy it, and 30 jumps goes by without even giving it a thought. And I don't do long plots, even though the 20,000 thing have come out, and I only ever plot. I plot about 1,500 at the most, give or take a bit, and that gives you little bite-sized chunks and keeps things in. You know, do you know what I mean? And then you get a break as well, like you can go make a cup of tea or whatever, and do you know what I mean? Like keep it in sort of sizable chunks, like. And sometimes those 30 go by without even noticing. And next time I jump into the system and there's not another one to jump to. It's like, whoa, I've done it. It's finished. Like, and I plot another one. But other times it seems to drag, you know. But I don't think that's okay. People didn't come on the trip because they say, wow, that's a long time. That's a year and it's all that distance and stuff. Well, if you're on the game, you're on the game. It don't really matter what you're doing on there. So do you see my point? So it doesn't matter what you're doing. You fly in the ship. I mean, obviously, if you want to do combat or want to do trade or anything like that. But as for exploration, distances become irrelevant, really. You know, I suppose it might depend what mood you're in sometimes. It's as simple as that, whether, you know, you're up for it or you're not. I mean, everybody has days like that. So, but yeah, my biggest thing about the game is just the size of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know the feeling exactly. If immersion, if your pips to immersion is at full, then distance doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. And like I say, I've only had the Rift since Santa brought it for me, and that's transformed the game as everything else. Whenever I put it on, it's just I'm in the ship now instead of looking at it, and it's just even like fuel scooping's become special. This star jumps out in front of you, and you actually. And it's got scale and it's got depth, and it's you can't describe it really unless you look at it like that. And that's changed the game as well. It's made it 10 times better. So
had to interrupt.
So,
but
Micky,
it's...
the interview is coming to its conclusion. Do you have any last words you want to say to?
Well, thanks for having me,
this interview,
guys, and good luck to everybody out there that's still on the expedition, and keep it safe, guys.
Great thing to have you, Commander.
Thank you.
Great to have you, Micky. Really appreciate you could make it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And here we go again.
I'm actually turning my headset in my hand so I can you won't believe what's going on here.
That's nice.
Nice jump, looked really great.
That always looks impressive. I love that. When you're actually next to somebody that jumps out of a system, when you're next to them, that's so impressive.
I think Macross, it was quite close actually. Only a few minutes and the planet would have obstructed the jump, so it was really close. Nice timing. But yeah, I really like the mass jumps also, and all the different engine colors, and
it's always impressive.
yeah,
Always. When you're right next to somebody and they jump out the second that they jump, that's crazy. That is. It's just.
You all left me alone here, you bastards. God damn you.
It's by your own choice, Hank.
Yeah.
You said yourself you want to stay behind.
I was going to put that up on
Yeah.
the site, on the forum, when people was asking who's out there that haven't been in touch for a while, let us know what's going on. I was going to look up the video of Papillon floating on his bag of coconuts, and he just yells out, "I'm still here, you bastards." Look it up, guys.
Wait for me.
Papillon on his bag of coconuts.
Mm-hmm. But there we have, it's Basecamp 12 mass jump and talk show for this week. And next time in 2 weeks again, less surprisingly, and with a new guest. And thank you, Commander Micky Sates, to come as a guest. Thank you.
No problem.
It was great to have you.
Thank you, fellas.
Thank you, Macros. It was
Thank you.
nice talking to you. And thank you all who were jumping or watching or listening the talk show and mass jump. And we will see you next time in 2 weeks. Goodbye and good night.